Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Office Hours. My name is Ben Brownlee for Boris FX and we're going to be taking a look at optics this week. So if you don't know what Office Hours is, it's our weekly chat with people where, you know, one of the Boris FX team just sort of sits down with a piece of software and starts working around in it and sort of has a bit of a topic, but it's very open-ended, and you know, we look forward to hearing questions and comments, of course, from you as well. So this is also a chance where people will send in their troublesome clips or, you know, tricky images and ask us to see what we can do with them. So like I said, we're going to be looking at optics this week, and it is going to be quite a sort of nice little informal back and forth. So I thought what I'd do is I'd give people a chance to pick where we start from. So we're going to be dealing with light today, or trying to deal with light today. We tried this last week and we had a few gremlins in the system, so hopefully the gremlins are all gone. So what I want to do is see if there's any one of these particular images, these starting points that we could use, and then we'll go through and take it from there. Sort of just experiment a little bit. I think I'll give a few seconds. Otherwise, if there's no one who has a particular preference, then we'll start with the one we started on last week. Hopefully people are remembering that from last week. We started with the flower fairy last week, so yeah, if there's no other preference, I could start there. There are a couple of ones I want to get to later on, but we'll start with this one, and let's bring my face back in as well. We know we're streaming when we've got my face in the in the image. All right, so I'm going to talk about light, and we do have quite a lot of filters in optics. In fact, we have so many filters that it can feel a little bit sort of overwhelming if you're a new user, or in fact, even if you've been using it for a little bit. So what I think we will do is I'll sort of take a little look around some of the ones just as we're working within a particular image. So something that I like to do is I like to look at the image we've got and try to figure out what we need to do with it. I want to sort of enhance the good bits about it and sort of try and minimize any of the bits that aren't working, or just try and bring in a bit of contrast to it, sort of heighten the differences. And where I started last week was by looking at the little dots within the wings, so the little glints of light within the wings. And I think that's probably a place I'll start here as well. So I'm going to go for a sort of untraditional use, I think, of ultra glow, because ultra glow, it's a big glowy filter. It can do lots of different things as we take a little look through the presets here, but we also have some other more hidden stuff that we can do with this. Most of the presets, most of the sort of newer filters have a preset called full reset, a reset preset, and this sort of takes us back to a nice starting point. With ultra glow, this actually takes us back to something that looks like the S-Glow filter. Where's that? It's probably going to be over here somewhere. Yeah, it's going to be there. So it's going to make us look like that. And I'm going to sort of strip that back even further. So I'm going to take my glow width down, because I want to do this just to see where the areas are that we're going to be affecting with the glow. I'm going to turn my brightness up so you can see it looks really nice and horrible. And I'm going to turn the threshold up so I can much more easily tell which bits are going to be picked up by the glow. So I'm going to sort that out around about there. I know it's hitting the face and the body. I'm not too worried about that at this point. We're gonna deal with that in a second. You'll probably notice that I didn't take the glow width down to exactly 0. I kept it up just a little bit, and that's, the reason for that is because if we take it all the way down to 0, there are some occasions, especially when we have some of the other effects on at the same time, where that might not give you the result you want. It sort of, the difference between 0 and 1 isn't very big to our eyes, but when we start adding in lots of other glow, the afterglows and things, it can suddenly start to pop a little bit. So all we've got now is just heightening up those little dot areas here, and this is where I can start to actually come into things like maybe the afterglow and actually start to glow this up. So we can see that a little bit better now here. But before we move on and say, okay, yeah, that's nice, that's glowing, I want to show you something that is underused quite a bit, I think, with glow. It's used quite a lot in the presets, but it's not used very much, outside of that. And that's the idea of the glow fall off and the glow bias. I think these are very underused, and these are exceedingly powerful. So the glow fall off actually controls like how, well, the fall off of the glow, like how wide or narrow the glow is. I'm going to zoom in even further. I'm going to use I to go in. There we go. Maybe not too far. So if I bring that glow width down again, so we're just focused on the regular glow. So if you see the fall off, if I take that negative, we start to expand things out again. And if we take it positive, we get a faster fall off, so the glow doesn't stretch out quite as much. Now, this in itself is kind of like, oh, all right, yeah, I see what's going on. But how exciting is that? The thing is, on its own, it might not be that exciting. When you mix it with glow bias, this is where things start to get a bit more fun. Because glow bias, it's sort of like a way of tweaking where the midpoint is in the glow. So if I bring a nice like high glow bias up, what we end up with, even without anything else happening, is we end up with these nice sort of thick bits of bits glow spots where the highlights are. We see if we adjust the threshold here, you can see those popping in and out. And so if we start mixing in glow bias of 3 is mad. If we start mixing in glow bias and glow fall off, we can get some really hot spots in our glow. And then if we bring the afterglow up there, it starts to glow those points out even more. So afterglow sort of works as a kind of secondary glow after the primary one, and it's there where we start to feel the heat all from this glow fall off and the glow bias. So rather than just kind of cranking up like widths and stuff and sort of figuring out what's going on there, like the real secret to getting some heavy fat glows is actually to start tweaking up glow fall off, glow bias, and then hitting it with like really hard with the afterglow. So let's not zoom all the way out, it's a bit too much. So we've got quite a big, actually maybe too big a glow going on there. So one of the things I always do with these effects is just start masking stuff off. Optics makes it very easy, obviously, to mask things. So I'm going to add a spot in here, and I'm going to invert that up at the top so that we're kind of masking out a lot of that glow. So we're not hitting the face too hard, we're not hitting the body too hard. We're getting most of that nice sort of glowy area in the wings. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I like that. Cool. If there's anything you want to see at any point, just drop it in the chat, and I will obviously read that out. Another thing that I want to enhance here, I think, is going to be some of the idea of the stars. You can see in the background we've got quite a few stars or sparkles happening. Maybe I want to enhance that just a little bit as well. So let's add another layer in. I'm going to come over to render, and we have an effect called night sky. And night sky, if I just let's go to down the bottom here to combine and go to stars only, you can probably see that a little bit easier. Yeah, Laurie says own optics, but still very much of a beginner wanting to learn all. Yeah, optics is big. Optics is big, and I think it's kind of, it's one of those things that reacts really well to play. So let's take something like deep space, and let's make this a little bit bigger, because I think these stars are a little bit small. So let's bring the stars up there. Where are you? Star size. There we go. Let's bring those in. I don't quite want that many, so let's bring up the vary size by magnitude just to thin some of that crowd out. There we go. The nice thing about this is it is very interactive, so I can just be tweaking and changing up my night sky as we go. Okay, and let's go down to the bottom and screen those over the top. So now we've got a lot of stars. Too many stars. Too many stars. So we're going to put another mask onto here. Now we could, let's have a little look, zoom out a little bit. Yeah, we could do an easy mask over the top of this. But I think what I'm going to try to do is instead use one that I haven't shown too much before, which is probably the selection. And this is one that I use a lot, and we'll actually see I use this a lot in the next 40 minutes. And selection basically makes a key, so it pulls a key. So currently we're doing a selection based on luminance up here, but we can do it on hue, saturation, or any of the color channels. And this case, what I want to do is I want to move my range so that it's only affecting the darkest areas. So I'm going to bring that to 0. Going to pull my range down so that we're cutting out a lot of the fairy here, and maybe we'll tweak this just a little bit to get a slightly harder edge, but that should be fine. Let's hit M again, and we'll zoom in with I and O, or I to zoom in. And let's have a little look at that. See, now we're really only getting those stars going in the and filling out the background there. That's kind of nice. Let's change the stars up and make sure there's not quite as many of them, because this is, want to thin the herd. We don't want, too many stars, going to be just get distracting, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of nice. All right. So the final thing that I think we're going to do with this before we do the overall color correction, because there are like a lot of images I want to have a look at, is probably just sort of get a bit of light texture going through. So let's add another layer in here, and this is probably something just to heighten out the idea of fantasy and sort of just it's otherworldliness. So let's head back into light. And I'm going to go, and I think I want a raise of some sort. Raise. So we've got S raise. I can, you know, obviously I can search in here for raise. Make sure I go back up there. Yes, we got S raise. So I mean, this is one of these other effects that is used a bit too much just as it is out of the tin. So we've seen this effect a lot, like the edge rays coming in, blurring out just lines coming out here. But I think there are some more interesting ways of using this effect as well. Again, we do have like some kind of fun, you know, presets. I actually kind of like that, I think, in some ways. Might not be exactly what we need for today, but could be kind of fun. Cloud rays, yeah, that's maybe. No, let's not. Let's do something else. Let's go back with the default. And so, yeah, so what I'll do with these is, instead of using these just as kind of like big hit volumetric rays, what I'll do is I'll try and do something a little bit more subtle with this. Something that is going to help with the whole sort of fantasy idea, but not push everything too far forward. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So some of the nice things we have about rays is being able to, you know, very quickly change the ray length up and down. We can even do reverse rays, which is kind of nice for simulating rays coming out of a point, or in this case of sort of moving things, you know, in both directions. Do I want that today? Yeah, probably not. So we're going to move down to shimmer and atmosphere, because this is where we can start getting a little bit of texture into our image. So the shimmer amplitude, if I start moving this, you can start to see that the rays themselves get a little bit more more textured, more sort of you know, they sort of start to collapse into more identifiable streaks rather than rays all the way through. So if I set that down to 0, this is all really nice and soft. If I take my shimmer amplitude up to 5, you know, we really only get the sort of hard rays going through. I want to keep this soft because the subject matter is pretty soft. And the shimmer frequency, you know, that sort of controls how you know, how many bits of streaks we get in there. The atmosphere is probably the most important one, in my opinion, at this point. So if we just bring the atmosphere up, we can start to bring in a bit of texture, a bit of you know, it's almost as if something's going through smoke. And I like to have quite a heavy atmosphere, but then take the frequency down. You can see, like, with the frequency up really high, you can get a very visible smokiness in there. I like something a bit more subtle. So the frequency comes down and the detail comes down. Again, detail sort of lets everything get really, really visible. I'm not really after that. All right, so now we've got our streaky things. Let's see if we can take our mask that we use for night sky and just bring that up onto our rays here and see how that works. That's kind of looking fairly interesting. I might blur that out a little bit, but that's kind of interesting. We can also play around with blend modes, maybe. See if screen does anything fun for us. Oh. Let's try and select the right layer bin. There we go. That's color dodge. That's screen. No, I think I'm happy with normal, actually. There we go. And then if we want to just take a quick look at the before and after, I'm not, we're just experimenting here. We've got no, there's no right or wrong at this point. We're starting to get somewhere. Cool. And I might come back to this. We're not quite done with this, but I feel we need to move on. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it out as a TIFF file, and I'm going to call this one Fairy Girl Work in Progress. Save this. If I save this as a TIFF, I also get a chance to save the setup with the image. So it means that when I open this up again, it's going to give me all my filters here. So that's nice. All right, let's open up another one. So let's see if there's another request. Someone did ask for the spaceship. Dreamer asked for the spaceship. Dreamer, if you're still here, we're going to be spaceship timing. And if there's another one that you want to have a look at after that, then let's do that afterwards. So let's look at the spaceship here. Alrighty. Okay, so taking a look at this, I'm kind of thinking we want to do a couple of things. We want to start shaping the light a little bit more. We do have some nice glows, so I don't need to really think too much about the glows, but maybe we'll think about contrast a bit more, and we'll definitely think about lens flares and stuff like that, because that's always fun. In fact, yeah, let's start with the colors first. Anytime that I always like to work big to small. So anything that we're going to do across the entire image, well, let's do that first. And let's just take a look, see if we can use one of the colors like haze or high contrast. I actually think that goes a little bit too much, but could that be something? Maybe. Let's have a look at haze first. Yeah, because this could help just to cut through some of the low contrast stuff, and it also gives us a quick way of just balancing out the colors a little bit. So do we want to take this a bit more cool and blue, or do we want to push this a bit more vintage? Let's go blue. Not too much. There you go. Yeah, all right. Okay, that's good. Okay, we're built in a little bit more contrast there. Michael's here. Hello, Michael. So let's come on to the next one here. So now we've done a bit of the color. Let's have a think about flares. So I'm going to come back into light, and I think the light that I want to start with at the moment, I think we'll start with something that is going to be nice and visible, and we're going to look for lens flares. So that's going to come under S lens flare. That's this nice big one here, and we do have a lot of flares to choose from. There are some categories like custom and favorites. We don't. Oh, I was going to say we don't have any favorites here, but actually I do have favorites. I was going to say, because a lot of these are presets that I've made. A lot of these, yeah, I'd say quite a few of these, a few dozen of these are presets that I've made along with other people now. So can you have favorite children? Yeah, but not when they're listening. And I think I was going to say I think I want an anamorphic one, and we've got some really nice anamorphic ones in there. Let's just type in search anamorphic, see if there's something else that I like even more. But actually, no, I think Redux anamorphic that's my sci-fi one that I really like, because that's just big and brash, and it knows what it is. So we could put that over the top. Now the thing about lens flare is that we don't have to have it exactly as it comes out of the preset. You know, we can do little changes like scale up widths and scale up brightness, or change brightness down a little bit. But if there's a particular flare element that you're not particularly into, or it doesn't work on a particular shot, so for example, I think, you know, maybe this is getting a little bit too busy, what we can do is we can come into edit flare, and this will open up the flare designer. And this is where a lot of people sort of open this up, have a little look at it, get scared, and then close it down again. I'm going to show you it's not actually that scary. Let's dock that into the right place. Because a lot of what we've got with the flare designer, if the flares are more modern, they've all been separated out into elements here. So if I don't want to do a lot with it, I just want to get rid of some of the elements, all I have to do is just turn those off in here. Just turn a whole group off. If it's one element that I want to get rid of, we can just scroll over until we find that element. See that wide streak there? That's that top one I don't really like, so I can get rid of that one instead. And the same down here. Maybe there's like these ones here I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm going to find which group they're in. They're in my blue multi-spots, and then I'm just going to have a little search just by rolling over the elements until I find it, which is that one there, top multi-spot. Get rid of that. Bye bye. Everything else I kind of like, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit OK, and that just gets rid of those flares that I'm not a huge fan of. Nice and easy. And we can come in and we can sort of duplicate this up a few times and make things a little bit different. So let's right click on here, let's duplicate this layer. Everything gets bright, really bright. Let's turn that on here, and let's find another, I mean, maybe we'd flare off here. Hello very much to the new viewers we got coming in, and let's just sort of bring this down a little bit. And this one here, if we start adding in like tons and tons of flares, which is exactly what I want to do, everything's going to get really muddled. It's going to get really muddy, and we're not going to be able to see what's happening. So with this one, this duplicated one, I can just go in, I'm going to turn off everything apart from the hotspot and maybe the rays. Yeah, I like the rays. The rays can stay. But with that, we still keep those really nice anamorphic elements going in, but we're not cluttering up the screen. We're just getting the little hotspot areas going on in there. Yeah, I'm liking that. Let's just maybe take the widths down a little bit so it's not quite as overwhelming. Duplicate that one more time. And bring this into here. And because we don't have any of the other little elements in there, that's all works out kind of nicely. Yeah, one last little thing. If we come in and where are we going to do this? I'm thinking, no, we don't really want to do that. I was just going to think maybe we can sort of rotate stuff around a little bit. Maybe we'll do that just a little bit, just so that they aren't all looking exactly the same. But you know, from a certain angle, they probably would be pretty similar. All right, so let's take a quick look at the before and after. So that's the. Let's go and actually use the right shortcut. Yeah, let's do a split screen on this. That's a very good idea. So that's the before. and that's the after we've got. Yeah, Michael asks, is that the flare designer in Sapphire 2? Yeah, it's exactly the same flare designer. So yeah, basically wherever you have S underscore, that's going to be the Sapphire effect, and it's going to react in pretty much exactly the same way, whatever host you're working in. So whether you're using the native Sapphire filter just in After Effects or wherever, or in Photoshop, or whether you're using it inside Optics or inside Optics in Photoshop, it's always going to act in the same way, and you can swap presets around and do all that sort of fun stuff. Okay, that's starting to get a little bit more fun. What else can we do with this? Well, while I wait for suggestions, I will just say to everyone who's new here, this is office hours. So this is where one of the Boris FX team just sort of takes an hour to look through a particular bit of software, cover a particular topic, and take questions from people if they have any questions. So it's all very free flowing. I'm not going to say unprepared. You know, we've got a lifetime of preparedness going on, but it's very much sort of unscripted and off the cuff. You know, it's not the normal professionalism you expect from our live streams, but no, it's a bit more fun. So let's call this. Let's rename this. All these flares: small 1, small 2. I think I kind of like where I'm at with this spaceship. I'm going to move on again because I want to see if I can cover like a few different shots so that we can come in and spaceship work in progress. Yeah, and see a few different techniques here. Let's save the setup because we'll come back to this one later maybe. Let's open up. Okay, we're back. We're back into our list. So there's probably about a 20-second delay between me opening up this and you actually having a chance of coming in and you know, giving a thought on which one you'd like to see. So I'm just going to riff like a tiny little bit. Michael asked for some lasers on the spaceship. Actually, it's a really nice idea. I will come back to that because I think I'm not going to give up the opportunity to make a laser. So we'll definitely do that. But if there's another one that we want to have a little look at, otherwise I'll just pick one. Maybe steampunk. Steampunk's always a bit fun. Or how about we keep the space theme going? I think this could be quite interesting. All right, so this is one where I think, you know, we do need to do a bit of recoloring before we move too far in on this one. So let's come in and will I do haze again? I do like haze actually, because haze has, you know, it's got two parameters, but they're sort of ones that you want to use. They're, you know, it sort of comes in and lets you sort of cut through the contrast and also changes up the color. But maybe I'll do something a bit different on this one. Let's do fluorescent instead, because we got that green color cast over the top, which makes it look as if it's being shot under like fluorescent lighting. So maybe we can cut through some of that just with one of the presets. Yeah, we'll get fluorescent 2. That'll do. Let's add another layer. This is something that I really like with optics. Just like you build stuff up really nice and quickly. And then should we go for haze again, or do I want to try something? I want to try something different. Okay, so let's go with something we haven't seen before, which is enhancing. And enhancing lets us pick out a primary color, like green or blue, or red obviously, and just enhance that area. Or we can come in and do like a custom. So if I want to maybe bring up the hair or something, then I can select that custom, and then we'll just be giving a little bit more punch to the hair. That's kind of fun. All right. I think with this one, again, thinking about enhancing the stuff that I like in it and then minimizing the bits that I don't. I like the background. I like the glowing stuff in the background. I think we can do more with that. I also think we need to add in a bit more contrast in here as well, because it feels a little flat still, I think. We'll see what we can do with it. Status Killer asks if Optics can edit raw images. Yes, but not. It's got a like not every single raw image is the same. So there is a list of compatible cameras and compatible raw formats that it's got, which you can. I think you can find that all on the website. Failing that, you could always like open up the free trial and just see if it will open up one of your raw images. But yes, it does have raw photo compatibility. What was it in here? Oh yeah. We're looking at lights. We're looking at relighting. So this is a bit more of a sort of traditional relighting of the scene. I think we're gonna do here. We do have stuff like lights to come in and sort of add kind of gobo things on here. But there's one effect that I think is underserved a little bit, and that's diffusion. And diffusion is it's sort of like light, except what it's doing is it's putting an image over the top, and then it's making that feel as if light is coming through and breaking up in, with that texture. So it can actually be really powerful to work with this. In fact, if we just have a little look at the texture here, we can go through and sort of see some of the different ones we have available to us. I want something that I don't really mind what we have. I think I just want something that's going to break up the pattern a little bit. Maybe plastic dirty. Okay, fine. And there's a couple of different elements to this. There's the way that it's breaking everything up. So let's take our blur down and turn the brightness brightness all the way up, so you can sort of see the texture going over the top. Blurring that out kind of just helps to break all that up a little bit, break the elements up. But it's also going across the entire image. Now we can use the transform down here to kind of move it into a particular area, shake it around a little bit, and this works out quite nicely. But I also think, let's bring this up a little bit harder so you can see this a bit more. I also think I want to just have it going into the background. Yeah. All right. For that, I am going to use an easy mask. So easy masks are a way of quickly cutting out our background and our foreground elements. So basically, what I'll do is I'll draw green around the bits that I want to keep. And I'll right click, and that draws red around the bits that I don't want to keep. I'll keep some hair. We don't have to have these all filled in if we don't want to. We can just have them like that. Or we can use the paint bucket, left click to fill in green, right click to fill in red, and then it will just sort of calculate out. Let's hit M there, and it will make a little map for us. And if we need to fill some stuff in here, maybe we'll just refine this with red down there, and maybe refine the edges of green in there as well. Hit return. That will generate up a slightly different matte for us. M to turn the mattes off, and let's just go over here. So now we've only got the overlay going over the top of the of our girl here. Let's swap this around. Let's invert that. So now we've only got it happening in the background. That's kind of fun. There we go. I want to keep some of the texture in. I like that. And I'm going to use that quite a bit. I think I'm going to use that that matte that we've created quite a bit. All right. The next thing to do, I think, is try to sort of cut through some of this, because we've got like a maybe. Should we glow now? Glow now or glow later? That is always my my big thoughts. Glow now or glow later? Why not glow all the time? Yeah, let's use something like something we can relight things with. And we even have soft light. Actually, I think soft light's gonna look good here as well, because I don't have to do anything with soft light. There we go. All I'm going to do is just copy that over the top. Possibly because I want to capture some of that element going on around, what I'll do is I'll just blur that edge out, so we end up catching a bit of the soft light in the hair. Yeah. Okay. All right. As a little experiment. That's before. That's the after. Okay, we're getting somewhere. All right, let's add a new layer. New thoughts, new layers, and let's come in and actually just sort of try and shape the light a little bit now. I'm going to come into my grads and tints, and I'm going to use a neutral gradient. I'll take this from left to right, no, right to left. Sort of shape that over the top there. And let's take the exposure down. Let's preserve our highlights so that we're not kind of completely destroying the contrast in that area. And what I can do here is just turn on the overlays and just get it so that we're just building in a little bit of light or a little bit of shading across the image. So let's turn that off. Yeah, I think that's working quite nicely, because that sort of just moves things around a little bit there. Cool. Am I liking that? Yeah, I think I'm liking that. All right, so I'll do one more thing on this, and I think we'll move on to our final shot, because time is slipping away from me. If there are any questions that you've got, then feel free to drop them in chat. Otherwise, I'll just keep coming in and experimenting with stuff here. I mean, that's really is the fun with the office hours here, is that I get to have fun and play, and you get to ask any questions that are on your mind. Yes, I'm going to come in. I am going to use light now. I'm going to use light to try to sort of add in a little bit of a soft gobo over the top of the face here, and we do have, like, there are tons of textures that we've got. Some of these you might even be the same from the diffuse ones. There's a lot. But I've also got my own textures. Some of these have actually made their way into the continuum light. So if I browse on this, so we've got a few other textures here. So like we've got like abstract foliage, abstract geometric. Yeah, not all of these have made their way in to any product yet. This is my own little library. Will I just find something broken here? Yeah. Okay, let's just use this one here. This one has made it into continuum, so maybe it'll make its way into optics as well soon. And with this one, I'm going to change my brightness on my blend mode to screen. I always find that screen gives me a little bit more, you know, of a more subtle look to it. But having said that, I'm going to turn this way up just so that we can see what's going on with it to begin with. And what I want to do is I want to place this texture over the character, but I don't want to, you know, completely drown out all of the other stuff that's going on. Michael asks, are the imported textures just JPEGs? Yeah, you can have bring in JPEGs or PNGs. Is that the only thing you can do? Yeah, JPEG, PNG, or TIFFs. So you can just bring in your own textures right there. Another thing we can do with light is actually, again, heighten the contrast by bringing up the shadow. So we kind of darken the rest of the area that isn't affected by the light. Less is more on a lot of this. I know I'm going quite hard on this, or quite heavy on this, but that's only so we can see what's happening. I'll take it down and then just mix it in quite subtly. I think I'd rather have like 3 or 4 layers that are doing something subtle than, you know, something different subtle than one layer that's just coming in and hitting you. I think that works out a bit more nicely. And I'm going to reuse that easy mask we made right at the start. Just come in here. I'm going to flip that back so it is just going over our character here. Hit M to turn the mask off, and that's on and off there. So that's off, that's on. I might bring this up a little bit and then blur it out just a little bit less, and then turn it down again. It's a lot easier to know when you've gone too far and then just pull it back. Let's have a little compare before and after. Yeah, I kind of like where that's going as well. Yeah. All right, I can see that working. Yeah, so what we've done here is sort of built up the brightness over on this side and sort of added a bit more shadow over on the right hand side. I'm liking that. All right, let's save this out. I think we've got time for one more quick one. What's this one? This one is Space Station, work in progress. That one, there we go. Again, saving that with the setup means that I can go to some of the older ones that we've looked at. Where did I save these out to? Oh yeah, here. Like one of the other whips, which is, go to the fairy one. We still get all of the all of the effects, all the filters we put on before. All right, and just this one's for Michael. I'm just going to do this quickly. This may or may not work. Let's have a go. We're going to add a laser to this ship. This is one we took a little look at. And I'm going to add in Ultra Zap. I mean, this is a classic effect. Like I'm going to turn off actually some of the lens flares, so we're not distracted by lens flares. But we've got like really nice lightning effect going on here. So we could have like a lightning disrupting the ship, like a EMP or something like that. Or we could take a little look down here into the presets and see what's what with the presets. Neon tube. Michael asks, am I just using the standalone today? Yes, I am. I got scared just because last week when we had all the tech problems, I don't know whether it was because what was happening, but yeah, basically we were running optics through Photoshop. I don't think it had anything to do with it. I did stress tests afterwards. It seemed fine, but just to take one thing out of the chain, I'm just using optics standalone today, but everything we've seen works exactly the same way. But let's come in. I've got neon tube basic and neon tube enhanced. Yeah, let's go with the enhanced. No, let's go with the basic. Let's bring it down, because then we can enhance it ourselves. And let's pretend that we've got a cannon coming underneath here. The nice thing about this is let's turn off the overlays now, because it'll keep that straight. So we've got bolt lengths with Ultra Glow. With Ultra Zap, we've got two different controls we can use. We've got like the main bolt structure, and we've got a secondary bolt as well. So we are currently using this one for sort of adding in a nice bit of glow there, but yeah, we could change that to something else. Definitely am not going to keep us with the purple on. Let's take us to a blue. Yeah, it's kind of fun. And maybe we'll add in a bit more of an interesting texture to this as well. So with the secondary bolt, which is giving us the sort of outer glow type thing, let's taper this at the start as well, so we get a little bit more shape in there. And I'm thinking we add in a bit of branchiness to the bolts as well, in a true non-laser type way. But I think if we kind of do this subtly, it's just going to add in texture to it rather than, you know, completely ruining what we're trying to do. So basically just doing tiny branches. We do lots of them. Do 10 tiny branches, just to help sort of break up the sort of the perfect look of the bolt there, I think. Maybe we'll do something on the secondaries as well. Secondary bolt structure. There we go. Oh, bolt branchiness. Secondary branchiness. There we go. Secondary bolt branchiness. Tons. But obviously that's too long. Too long. Bring that back. I don't know. Something like that. Secondary bolt structure. Maybe we'll mess this up a little bit. What we got? We got very width somewhere. There we go. Cool. And we've got Ultra Glow built directly in, so that's probably why I'm getting another red glow in there. I don't know. It's fun. Does that? Yeah, that's kind of fun. I don't know. We'll work more on our lasers afterwards, but let's turn on the other stuff. So yeah, that one's for Michael. Just trying to see if we can do like a quick laser. There you go. Before, after. Yeah, maybe we'll, I don't know, change the secondary bolt colours so that it's a bit more in the cyan areas, or a bit deeper blue maybe. So it fits what what the anamorphic bolts were looking like. I don't know. That's kind of fun. We're just playing around. Cool. Alrighty, let's save that one out. I've already saved you out. Oh, there we go. Save it out as a work in progress there. Cool. Well, I think that's that's pretty much all the time that we've got for today. I don't want to sort of start another image. We were just sort of playing around a little bit with light. We had a look at some of the the big ones we had in the light category, but I think one of the things that I want to sort of highlight a little bit more is basically how fun it is to work with optics, or just just to explore a little bit. None of the things that we've done, most of these ones here we've sat and worked on or played around with maybe for 10-15 minutes, and not all of them have gotten like really far, but some of them they're starting to actually shape up into something. So I think this could be a nice one to keep exploring, and that's really it. If you aren't working with optics at the moment, then head on over to borisfx.com. You can download a free trial, test it out for yourself. If you are working with optics, then one of the things I would say is just find any image that you can, and just start to find like a couple of effects in a particular category, and just start working with those and seeing what you can experimenting with those and just seeing what you can do. There are a ridiculous number. I think there's hundreds of different effects going on all the way through. So if you if you don't start with just a couple at a time, then you're never going to really find all of the ones that you that are available, and you could find the one that you're missing for a particular job. Alrighty, yeah, I'm going to leave that there. We didn't touch on any of the particle-y stuff, which I kind of half had in my head at the same time, but there's always next time. Right, so I'm going to say goodbye. My name is Ben Brownlee. Office Hours will be back next week. I will not be here, but Nick Haraz, I think, is going to be taking you through I think some continuum stuff next week. So join us again on Tuesdays for Office Hours, and if you have anything that you'd like to see in the future, drop a line in the comments below. If you've enjoyed what I've done so far today, give us a little thumbs up. It helps us to know that people are actively watching these and want to see some more of it. But for now, yes, my name is Ben Brownlee. I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.